Hey, what's going on, my fellow stackers? The Big O here, and I have a very important video based on coin shops, pros and cons that we need to discuss and be aware of. So please stick around. All right, guys, let's get started. This is going to be relatively a quick video, but I want to provide you guys, some pros and cons and some tips on coin shops. And before the end of this video, I want to share with you a personal experience I went through 20 years ago at a local coin shop. So let's jump in. Let's start off. Okay, so first of all, you're new to stacking, right? You have no idea about what to buy, right? To me, one of the biggest pros of a coin shop is to walk in person, talk to a professional coin dealer, and get a huge amount of information, right? I mean, from an educational perspective, that's going to be a huge plus, right? A huge pro in terms of getting a ton of information on what should you stack based on your budget, right? We all know there's various gold and silver bullion, right? We're talking about coins, we're talking about bars, their respective purity, gold content, silver content, and sizes, right? We know they come in fractional coins and also, large bars, right? So to me, that's a great way to talk to a professional in person and get an idea what will best fit your needs, okay? Another pro is browsing in person, right? I mean, that's, to me, excellent in terms of, hey, let me get an idea on what this American Eagle looks like, weighs, just to get a feel for it, because there's nothing like holding a precious metal coin in your hands, right? You obviously can't do that online. You can browse, right? But this is just a great way to get to know what you're in the market for in terms of purchasing silver or gold. Another pro is purchasing small amounts. To me, that's a great way of visiting a local coin shop, because we all know most bullion dealers, they offer free shipping if you purchase a certain amount, right? Over 200, 300, or whatever dollars in terms of total purchases, right? So if you're making small amounts of purchases, that's just a great way to visit a local coin shop, right? Additionally, selling small amounts, right? Let's say you have, I don't know, you came across some family coins, right? And you just want to get an idea how much they're worth, or you need some quick cash, right? To me, that's a great way of selling to a local coin shop, because you're going to get a ton of information, hopefully honest information from some coin shops. And that's a total different video and discussion for another day. But to me, that's great, right? Quick cash. You want to get some information on some of the metals that you came across, or some of the coins that you want to sell. And you don't have to worry about shipping those coins to an online bullion dealer, because that takes time, right? You have to pay for shipping, insurance. You have to wait until it gets there, right? And then you have to wait for the bullion dealer or representative to verify your coins, right? And then they have to ship it back to you, which could take about, I don't know, a week or so, give or take, depending on your location. And then you get a check in the mail, right? Then you got to deposit that check, and then you got to wait for those funds to clear, right? You get the picture, right? So to me, those three quick pro tips or pros on visiting local coin shops are huge. Now let's talk about the cons. So the cons about coin shops is my biggest concern, right? And I have major issues and concerns about some of these YouTube guys that are creating these videos at local coin shops, right? And they have these visitors and they're exposing their identity. I'll get to it, but let's start off with con number one, right? Privacy issues. I just cannot believe some of the videos that I see on YouTube. A gentleman walking in and he's selling about 4 1-ounce gold coins. Now, making this video right now, gold is well over $2,100. And if you remember from my previous video, I predicted gold to be in the 2,100 plus range. But let's stick to the topics here. So, privacy issues, right? This guy is selling 4 1-ounce gold coins. So at that time, gold was right around 2,000, just a little over 2,000. So you're talking well over $8,000 worth of metals. And you're exposing your identity, your face on YouTube. Guys, do we know how many people watch YouTube videos? Honestly, it is absolutely ridiculous on some of these YouTube creators, and I'm not going to mention their names, but you know who you are. And you're very, in my opinion, you're naive. You're also a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be nice here, right? You're just inconsiderate. Right? You care about your numbers, your YouTube subscribers and whatnot, right? The list goes on and on and on. But you could care less about that guy's identity. That person that just sold 4 ounces of gold, well over $8,000. And you're exposing him on YouTube. It's just stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, a tip from me, if you're going to sell your coins and they're going to be well over $8,000 and you happen to come across this 1 or 2 particular guys that I know on YouTube, they like to expose people's faces when they're buying or selling, particularly selling, right? And buying as well. I'm going to get to it. That's just... You got to just put your foot down, right? Because honestly, you're not going to get your 5 minutes of fame, right? What you're getting is a potential disaster. And believe me, if you think nothing can happen to you, I mean, that's just think. You got to think. Ask that YouTube creator that you want your identity blurred out as well as your voice. Because the reason why I say this, I was able to identify someone on YouTube created by one particular, YouTube stacker creator, whatever you want to call him. Again, I'm not going to mention any names, but he blurred out his face. That's great. But I was able to identify him based on his voice and the attire. He had a specific t-shirt that I've seen before in person. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. That you just have to think twice. Hey, it's your money. You have the right to tell that guy, do not expose my face and my voice, right? Do something. Hide it. Well, you can't really hide a voice, but do something to, obstruct your tone, right? Everybody has a specific, unique tone of voice. That is why most companies, even banks, they're using your voice as a way to identify yourself. So don't be afraid to say, hey, listen, I don't want to be exposed on YouTube. All right. So that, to me, that's the biggest con, right? Privacy issues. The second con sort of relates to the privacy issues, right? So You walk in, let's say you're buying, right? Well, we already discussed the selling. Let's say you're buying, I don't know, 5 ounces of 1 ounce coins, right? That's well over $10,000. Stalking. Be aware of your surroundings. You just have no idea who's around you, who's watching you. Okay? Especially, again, I have to mention this again. If you're buying 5 ounces of gold, well over $10,000, and you're exposing yourself on YouTube, so you're basically telling the world, look what I'm buying, look what I'm stacking. That's not smart, guys. And that friendly guy that you sparked up a conversation behind you, and you think he's cool, you guys think, yeah, we can relate, we're both stackers, right? You don't know that guy. You don't know that person. That is, to me, the biggest concern is stalkers that result in robbery. And believe me, like I said, the beginning of this video, I'm going to share you a personal experience I went through. Let's start with the third con. This one cracks me up, right? Long lines, right? Lack of parking, and I'm talking about long lines. How long? How long? I'll tell you how long some of these lines can be. Maybe this I don't know, this long, right? So you got people walking into let's call them Mitt. So I happen to like Mitt. I think Mitt is great. So everyone's visiting Mitt's coin shop, right? And I was actually in the neighborhood and I wanted to meet Mitt in person. And there was just a huge line of people from his counter all the way out his door, right? Now, to me, that's great. I'm happy for Mitt because Mitt is making a ton of business, right? He's getting a lot of customers. Why not? But here's my problem. Within Mitt's shop, you have one particular YouTuber, and let's say that's him right here. Right? Let's just pretend. And he's videotaping everybody up front and what they're buying, videotaping everyone behind and why they're visiting Mitt, right? So basically exposing their faces to the whole entire YouTube world, okay? Some people did have their faces blurred out, and I'm talking just their faces. But I was able to identify them by their voice and attire. So to me, guys, you got to be careful, right? This is just, you're asking for trouble, in my opinion. Why? Because what you're buying up front, you got this guy, or maybe this guy, or maybe this guy, looking at everything you are buying or selling. To me, that is a huge, huge privacy concern. You have to be careful. And exposing people's faces on what they're buying and selling, especially large amounts of gold, man, you are one inconsiderate YouTube creator. And to me, that's just not cool. I'm all about privacy, guys. So think about that long line that you just saw. I mean, seriously, I've seen that. And you need to ask yourself, do I really want to expose to the whole entire YouTube world on what I am buying and selling? Because you need to ask yourself, what are you getting out of it? Because I'll tell you one thing, that YouTube creator, he's getting all the numbers and subscribers. What about you? You're not getting anything for exposing your face. Well, you're asking for trouble. You may end up with something by exposing your face or your voice. So again, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to be on video. Privacy, guys, privacy. You got to keep that in mind. So let me talk about my personal experience. Back in 2003, 2004, I didn't know anything about stacking. I didn't know anything about gold or silver. So I went to visit a local coin shop, again, over 20 years ago. I walked in, started browsing, started asking questions. And I came across several coins that I was interested in. And at that time, silver was, I don't know, $4 an ounce, give or take. I ended up buying a large amount of silver, huge amount, in addition to gold. Now, this coin shop at that time, he was great. I forget his name, and I'm not going to mention the coin shop's name, but he was the type of guy that only allowed a certain amount of customers based on a certain amount of employees he had working there. So if he had 5 employees working, well, guess what? He would allow 5 customers, right? He wouldn't go over. Really, really smart. He would buzz them in, right? And he would basically tell those customers, hey, give us a few minutes. We're finishing up with a few customers and we'll let you in a few, right? For security reasons, for privacy reasons. I mean, to me, that is a smart way of doing things, okay? But back to my personal experience. I bought a large amount of precious metals. And I noticed a gentleman that was in the shop watching me, asking questions. And at that time, I was just being friendly. Then he later walked out of the shop, didn't buy anything. And as I was leaving that coin shop, I noticed he was on the phone across the street and he kept eyeing me, right? I mean, he was basically watching me, stalking. As I walked away from the coin shop, I was heading to the nearest train station. And here I am in a backpack. And I noticed this guy was following me. Instinct kicked in. I knew I was being followed. I knew this is the same guy that was asking all kinds of questions. Basically saw me, what I was buying, right? I had a ton of cash on me. I bought a ton of metals, right? And this guy's stalking me. So again, instinct kicked in where I managed to lose him in a crowd, right? You always want to be in a large crowd. You never want to walk alone down, a street, an alleyway, or whatever, right? And this is, at that time, I lived in a big city. I managed to lose him, right? And I managed to get to the train station safely. And to me, that was a huge relief. Why? I don't know what this guy's carrying for a weapon, gun, knife. Never know. You don't know. So guys, this is why I am stressing, and this is why I wanted to make this video on pros and cons on local coin shops. Again, they're great for purchasing and selling small amounts, browsing in person, right? Getting some information from an educational perspective, right? Cons, privacy issues, stalking that could lead to stalking, or worse, robbery. Those long lines, lack of parking, right? So what are you going to do? Long lines, there's no parking. So you have to walk maybe a block or so, or even a half a block. Guys, anything can happen within less than half a block. And you don't have your vehicle with you, and some guy is stalking you after noticing that you bought a ton of gold or even sold a ton of gold. Well, let me back up. If you sold a ton of gold and you got, let's say, a large amount of cash, that is a potential disaster. But if you got a check, you received a check, well, maybe not. I don't know. But when it comes to purchasing large amount of metals, You need to be cautious. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You just, again, these YouTube creators, they're not thinking. They're thinking about themselves, but they're not thinking about the safety of those customers, especially if they're exposing, the coin shop's, name, right? Get their name out there, right? Free advertisement. And not to mention, they're probably, meaning the coin dealer or coin shop owner, he's providing that YouTube guy, a good deal on a piece of gold, silver, or whatever for exposing his business on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm sure, I am absolutely sure that happens. Can't prove it, obviously, but guys, back to my point, be careful. This is why at OM Bullion, I am based by appointment only. Why? I don't have customers waiting in line exposing their faces or exposing what they're buying or selling from me, right? Behind closed doors, security, parking that can accommodate well over 100 vehicles, and not to mention the utmost security, which I am not going to get involved or talk about, because I am all about privacy, not to mention the element of surprise, right? I think from a military perspective, so to speak, right? You don't want to expose your enemy what you have in terms of weapons or capability, right? Just keep quiet. Privacy at OM Bullion. You make an appointment. You are purchasing. You can purchase large amounts. Nobody will know, because that next customer that's waiting in the waiting room, well, he or she has no idea what you're buying or selling to me, because again, all transactions behind closed doors for safety reasons, but most important, privacy. It's all about privacy, guys. So think about that, right? Think about what you want to do with your metals. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. I was hoping this video would be pretty quick, but at the same time, I didn't want to rush it and felt like I needed to provide you guys some important information on pros and cons on local coin shops, especially the cons. Think about that personal experience that I went through 20 years ago, right? I really hope you found this video valuable. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And again, think about your privacy. It's all about you. You wouldn't disclose how much money you have in a bank, right? Well, think about the same more or less on metals, right? You don't want to expose what you're buying or selling, especially on YouTube. And don't be afraid to tell that YouTube creator, hey man, listen, I don't feel comfortable being exposed on YouTube, right? Your face, your voice, right? Or specific attire that anyone can identify you. That's really important, right? Make sure you tell that guy or the YouTube creator, right? Just don't put me on video, right? This is all about you. Your privacy matters to you. So guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please, again, don't forget to hit that like button. As always, be safe out there, right? That's really important. But at the same time, take care of your health, preserve your wealth. Most importantly, keep rocking, keep stacking. Thanks, guys.